Hey guys, and welcome to DDP TV, aka The Real DDP Blog. And if you're watching this on YouTube, go look on the little printed part if you want to see everything that I'm going to be talking about, and that would be at therealddpblog.com. So today on DDP TV, I'm going to be talking about a guy that I believe may be the best of all time in his prime. He was a cat who had the look. He had the rap, he had the size, he had the charisma, he had the machismo, he had the it factor times 10. And he could work or outwork just about anybody. That's right. I'm talking about the bad guy, a.k.o. Chico. Well, he didn't call himself Chico, but he called everybody else Chico. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Scotty Hall. So, what is my relationship to Scott Hall? For starters, I met him in Florida Championship Wrestling back when we were both down there working for Dusty, trying to get that territory to pop. Now, over that time, I had come up with this idea called the Diamond Studs. And I was actually going to try to get Johnny Ace and his brother Terminator, Marcus, to do the gimmick, and it never turned into anything. But it was an idea that was there. And when I was managing the Freebirds, Scott gave me a call one night, and he said, "Hey, Dally, you know, what you need is a 6'7", 297-pound movie star, so you won't look like such a giant on TV with those tiny little Freebirds." That was his words, not mine. You know, having the size difference would definitely would help as a manager, considering I was 6'4". My cowboy boots, I was like 6'7". So, you know, of course, I wanted to help him anyway. And he told me that his wife was pregnant and he needed a gig, and he'd really appreciate it if I tried to talk him up. So I put in a call to Magnum TA, one of the greatest of the 80s, and would have been the man in the 90s if he didn't have that accident. Great guy. And I called Mags up, and I told him about Scott wanting to come in, and he said, "Well, let me talk to Dusty about it." And he came back and he said, "You know, I talked to Dust, and you know, we brought him in here twice in WCW, and he didn't really get over, so yeah, he's going to pass." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, all right." So I call Scott up, and I'm like, "Dude, they passed." He's like, "Oh man, you know, he really needed the gig, you know." So my mind started thinking, and I said, "Let me ask you, bro. What if we recreated you?" He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "You know, Honky Tonk's the only one who's got black hair. He's the only one. What if we dyed your hair like that blue-black, like Elvis color? And you know, we went for that look." He went, "Oh, Dally, I don't know." I said, "But would you do whatever it took to get you to try out?" He was like, "Yeah, I would." So I called Magnum back. I said, "Listen," I said, "I talked to Scott. We have a whole new look for him. He may not even be recognizable, and he'll drive from Orlando to Atlanta for the tryout." And Magnum, God bless his soul, he says, "All right, kid, get him up here. I'll get him to try out," which was so cool. So Scott, I call him, that night, I'm watching MTV, and Rob Lowe's on, and he's got like this stubble look, you know, and he looks cool, you know, just a you know, second day growth. And I went, wow, what if Scott got rid of that mustache? Because he used to have this big walrus mustache. So I called him up, like 2 o'clock in the morning, by the way. I said, "Scotty, Dally, what time is it?" "It's 2 o'clock in the morning, bro." He goes, "What are you doing, dude? My wife's pregnant." I go, "Listen, dude, I'm watching MTV, and you know, I got this idea. What if we shave your mustache off?" He goes, "What? My mustache?" I'm like, "Dude, we gotta recreate you. We gotta reinvent you." And he's like, "Oh man, all right, I'll do whatever it takes." So the next day, he's driving up to meet me at my buddy's house. I'm staying at my buddy's house in one of his rooms in Atlanta, and he shows up with just no mustache, just a black beard. Looked like a movie star, but his hair's like light brown. He didn't want to go for the all black thing. I was like, no way. Took him right to this chick who, you know, did the streaks in my hair. took him over there. She did a jet black. I dressed him just the way you saw him as the Diamond Stud. Put him in the Cavaricci pants, the big, coat. Actually, in the Freebirds video last week when I came walking out wearing that coat, it was that coat. Put him in sunglasses, wouldn't let him take them off, and a pair of slip-ons. He thought I was ribbing him because that's what the boys do. But I wasn't ribbing him. I wanted him to be completely different. And when we got there at Center Stage in Atlanta, no one recognized him. It was amazing. And a great scene that happened. I don't think I can do this in one video. This is probably going to be 2 today because there's so many great Scott Hall stories I have. And I'm sure he's got plenty of me. So Dusty, as soon as he sees him, he says he's in. He's got the gig, right? Magnum was, looked like a star, which he was. And Scott was blown away that no one recognized him. So we're in the cafeteria area eating, they always give us food. So we're in the cafeteria area, and Scotty looks at me and goes, dude, he goes, go, hey, Tommy Rich. I rode with him for 6 months. He's got to remember me. Go, hey, Tommy, you know Diamond Stud, right? I go, hey, Tommy, you know the Diamond Stud, right? Oh, yeah, sure, brother. Now, here's Scott. He does one of these. You don't know me. And Tommy got scared. He did it better than that. But he gave that eye, you don't know me. And Tommy was like a little worried, a little scared. He goes, Scotty? Yeah, I gave him a big hug. Bottom line, nobody recognized him. So now we're driving on the road, and I got this 62 pink Cadillac. If you've been following my blogs, if you actually do subscribe to The Real DDP, you saw the picture with the Cadillac and the broads and diamond dolls, all that shit. And we would ride from town to town. We were in the Atlanta area in my caddy. And, he'd be rolling a fatty and, just doing Scarface. And he loved that movie. And he would do one scene after another. But he never talked as a Diamond Stud. And that's another reason why they had to pull us apart, because Scott needed to get over on his own, which obviously he did. He took that gimmick and he went to WWE, and he just took what started as the Diamond Stud and became Razor Ramon, and then the bad guy was born, and man, he was on fire. I don't think there was anybody better than him right at that time. I mean, he was so electric. The matches he had with Shawn Michaels were just amazing. So my buddy Dylan put together a video of, because before he actually left and went to, I gotta tell you this story too, because I'm gonna do 2 videos on this. So if you're a Scott Hall fan, if you are a Scott Hall fan, you should be going and getting his other blog, Last Call with Scott Hall. Some of it's pretty damn entertaining. But I'll tell you this story before I cut off this video here and start the second one. He actually was my first tag team partner. They put us together in a tag match, and I trained like a son of a bitch and bulked up and did all the shit that I needed to do to get there. And he was so mad that he was actually being tagged with me. I'm thinking, why are you mad at me, man? I'm the guy who got you this gig. How could you be pissed off, that you're working with me? Well, I didn't realize Scott was a future main eventer. Now he's has to wrestle with the manager? Phew, that brought him way down in the sights of the people on the card, everything, the bookers. So later I would understand that was not a good thing, him tagging with me. So bottom line is we did have our first match together, and then he got his elbow worked on, and from there he went there to do the Razor Ramon thing. And I'm going to cut you off right here and come back with another video on top of that that'll give you the rest of my story about Scott Hall. So this would be part 1.